Could you briefly go over your roles that you've done?
Oh, I'm Double D Edward. Hello, everyone. Salutations here.
The Green Ninja. That's right. Ninja never quit. Never give up on yourself, okay?
And I was also Crypto, the super dog. Ruff, ruff, and away!
And also for Sonic Underground, I was the singing voice of Sonic.
Do you think it's easier now to be to make it as a VA, or do you think back then was easier?
It's always hard for me to answer this question because when I started, it's a completely different reality, a different world. But also, I look now and there's so many talented people who are just taking it upon themselves to start their own Instagram channels, show off their voices and their abilities, and build a followership and go that route. And I think that that's working for some people.
Aside from Eddy and Eddy, what was your favorite Cartoon Network show?
It depends what kind of mood you're in, right? Like Bill and Mandy, if you're feeling like a little twisted that day, or Cow and Chicken. You know, that's one thing I liked about Cartoon Network back in the day was that there was no way that you could say there was a specific style.
Super excited to have everyone on board. We got Louis for sure, myself, Godswill.
Hey.
We got Daniel back, and then very excited to have Sam Vincent with us. Thank you so much for joining us. And then you were just telling us about tortilla dogs. Like, actually, I need to know
I
the
was just
recipe
talking
for
about
that.
tortilla dogs. I want these to go. Everybody to try them. It's a way to bring the world together. Okay, this is what we're doing here. We're
That's what
getting
the
the
world needs right
traditional
now.
American hot dog, and we're getting the tortilla, and we're taking the hot dog, and we're wrapping the hot dog in the tortilla. And then if you want to do salsa, you can do salsa, or you can do ketchup, or you can do, mustard. But it's a way to bring, the thing together. Okay, people, tortilla dogs. Let's do it.
Cultures. Make sure to tag Sam as well.
I know,
He's the
right?
creator.
Tortilla
Him
dogs.
and his wife are the creator of it.
We love it. All the gringo friends. But oh my God, Martina's got to make the tortillas. These are amazing. We do it at the barbacoas. It's amazing. We love it.
That's amazing. How long have y'all been married? Like, it sounds. I love all this.
We've been together we're going to be having our anniversary in February. I think it's going to be 13 years.
Wow.
But but when we first met, she had this whole thing. She's like, okay, I have a little list of things. I said, okay. So I'm listening. She goes, I don't want to get married. I'm like, okay, neither do I, because I was divorced and I didn't want to get married again. I don't want kids. I'm like, ding, 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 but I want to be together forever. I was like, okay, so commitment's a thing, but it doesn't have to look like marriage. But then what happened was, after 9 years of being together, I was like, you know what? I'm just like, eres mi novia, pero quiero una esposa ahora. I want a wife now, And she was like, okay. So we got married, and we've been married 3 years now, but
Hey,
so we've been together
congratulations.
for a while now.
Felicidades. Muy
Yeah.
romántico.
Gracias.
Yeah.
It's good. Es una buena vida. Yep.
That's dope. So,
Yeah.
I mean, also, yeah, I've been also wanting to ask, like, I got to meet you, like, super briefly, I believe during New York Comic Con, and, like, how's life been for you? Like, what have you been up to, I guess, this past year? I guess a lot of fans haven't got to meet you, especially since, like,
Yeah.
the early 2000s, right?
Well, a very special thing happened in my life, and it was meeting Daniel
Hey.
we were at NostalgiaCon in Houston last 2025 of December, and
2024.
an ambitious young man made it through the crowd and said, I want to interview Sam Vincent. And he did an interview, and he put it together, a great interview. He did it in 2 parts, and then he also sent me this whole essay he wrote. And I'm very impressed with this man, very impressed. And so he then he contacted me and said, would you be interested in maybe working together, collaborating on getting your social media profile up a little bit on IG? Because I wasn't really I just go on occasion and just, show some action figures or something. Yeah, and so we kind of laid out a plan to commit to doing this thing together, and kind of started off 2025 with going to some conventions with the Eds, and Daniel was with us, being our creative director, and collaborating with other VAs, voice actors, and talking to also different products and people out there who might be interested in collaborating with us. So it's kind of been a fun adventure, and we've had a lot of fun this past year, and looking forward to continuing with that in 2026.
Hey, super excited. Oh,
Yes.
thank God for
Fun.
Daniel.
Shout out Daniel.
You know, Daniel's been running around everywhere. He was at San Diego Comic-Con doing stuff, and New York Comic-Con. I couldn't get out to San Diego because I had family obligations. Hopefully I'll get out there this year, though. So that might be cool for San Diego, and maybe New York too. Well, we're hoping to get to some shows.
Yeah.
But just meeting people and like yourself and just having fun. Like, hey, do a shout out for this person, you know, because it'll really make their day. So we kind of, you know, collab back and forth, and I do some videos to say hi to people and, you know, put a little smile on their face, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
it's been fun.
It's
been fun.
amazing. I mean, like, yeah, I guess, like,
Fingers crossed.
could you briefly go over your roles that you've done? I mean, of course, Double D. I mean, I saw you have a
That's
big
right.
list.
I'm Double D Edward. Hello, everyone. Salutations here. Hope everyone got a jawbreaker in their stocking this past holiday season. That would have been nice, right?
Yeah.
Currently I'm Lloyd Garmadon, the Green Ninja. That's right. Ninja never quit. Never give up on yourself, okay?
And I was also Crypto, the super dog. Ruff, ruff, and away!
And also for Sonic Underground, I was the singing voice of Sonic.
We're all in this together. Birds of a feather. Yeah.
And for people who are into anime, some of the old, I was on Gundam SEED as Athrun Zala, and Ren Hanju in Nana, and Thierry Erde on Gundam 000. And I've just been currently having fun in the mornings watching Monster Rancher again. I don't know if anybody remembers Monster Rancher.
Classic.
Guy with hair. The big hair. Oh.
The big fish. Apparently he has fart power too. I went and looked back at some of that stuff. He used it a couple times, which I thought was interesting. So it's been fun going back to watch some Monster Rancher, because that was a long time ago. And then Card Captors was a pretty cool anime show. I was Julian in UA, a beautiful, beautiful angel named UA. And you know, a bunch of other stuff too. But yeah.
Death Note.
What was that, bro?
Death Note.
Oh yeah, Death
We
Note.
can't forget Death
Yeah,
Note.
Cedo on Death Note and Giovanni on Death Note. Yeah. So yeah, bunch of stuff.
Yeah, very prolific. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're one of the OGs in voice acting. How did you get your start?
I basically was, well, it's one of those right place, right time things, because I was doing theater in high school and the industry in Vancouver, because I'm Canadian and I'm from Vancouver. I live on Vancouver Island now, but I did my careers in Vancouver. And during that time, things were starting to, more productions were starting to be made in Vancouver. I started on camera work, and then slowly but surely more production companies were coming up here to find voice actors for their animated shows. A lot of companies like Deke Productions. I don't know if you ever remember Deke Productions.
Like DIQ, right?
DIC.
DIC, okay.
Now
Deke.
they did a lot of shows back in the day. They did shows like Street Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
So my buddy Matt Hill, who plays Ed on Ed and Eddy, he was Street Shark, and then they went into Extreme Dinos, and I was Stiggs on Extreme Dinos. So there was just a lot of companies starting to want to find voice talent in Vancouver. And my first voice audition ever was for a show called Monkey Magic, which was based on what was it called? It was not called Monkey Magic in Japan. They had to change the name. But we did 13 episodes, and it was a very kind of it was based still on the Monkey King storyline, the classic Monkey King storyline, and basically it mixed Daniel's a fan of the video game.
Yeah.
That's how he's kind of geeking out about it, because oh dude, I played so much because it was a video game as well. So they're like,
It's my
I
favorite.
played so much Monkey Magic, and I'm like, cool, bro.
It's on my shelf.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you gonna grab it?
Yeah, I'm
go
actually
grab
looking
your
for
Monkey
it.
Magic. He's got it encased in plastic and graded and all that. He's a real nerd.
Yeah, Daniel has like a warehouse of memorabilia. It is
Yeah.
honestly amazing.
So
For
Monkey
real.
Magic was the first voice audition I ever had, and I got the part of Congo, the lead monkey. And it's one of those shows that when it was airing at the time, unless it's probably like early 90s, there was a lot of kids that were super into it, but they
That's
only did
crazy.
13. They only did 13 episodes, and then they just didn't continue to dub it into English. But I'll still get the odd person like Daniel who who remember who remembers the show very well, and
Yeah.
and loves it. Once in a while they go, "Oh, I wish it just disappeared. I used to run home from school every day and watch it, and then it just has disappeared." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Well, that's kind of the story of most animated shows. The way I get a lot of messages from people about why did this show stop, or why like one show in particular is a show called Slug Terra, which was a very popular show for about maybe 10, 12 years ago. Actually, I got one of the little slug. I don't know. Someone gifted me this at a toy store. These are the slugs that you would put in the blaster. Eli Shane. I got the
Whoa.
poster here.
Yeah.
So Slug Terra, Eli Shane. A lot of kids love this show.
Yeah.
But then
Throwback.
they always go, "What happened to you guys? Are supposed to go into the Eastern Caverns and explore." I'm like, I don't know.
Oh,
Who knows why
sure.
things get canceled?
man,
You just
that's
gotta
rough.
move on, man. Move on to the next thing.
Right, yeah.
Right on, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little
So
sad, but also, I think I had that worry back in the day too, never knowing like what was gonna stay around or not. But I mean, you've been on some classics, and I mean, still like, I mean, hearing about Ninjago, like seeing how long that's been ongoing, right?
this year is celebrating their 15th anniversary.
Whew.
I jumped on the show, I think, in season 8.
8.
I became the new Lloyd Garmadon. They wanted to age him up a bit. Gillian Michaels did an awesome job of playing him for the first 7 seasons as young Lloyd Garmadon, and then I came on kind of from his adolescence through to where his arc's going now into we're at season 4 now of Ninjago Dragons Rising. But that's probably been my longest run playing a young hero on a show. Like, I've played a lot of young heroes on shows, but his story arc's probably been the longest that I've done now. Moving on and having this journey that he's gone on from adolescence and heartbreak to now where we're at in the show with him becoming kind of having to take on the role of master and teach people that are be a mentor to others. So it's been a good ride with that show for sure.
Oh, that's really insane. I actually didn't know Ninjago was like such a story like that. I gotta check it out
Yeah.
one of these
It
days.
goes deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's evolved over time because it really is a show that was for young, I would say mostly young boys in the beginning, and as it's evolved over time, obviously Lego is meant to sell sets, and that's the ultimate purpose of it. But they've really done a great job of like attracting new audience members, trying to keep the ones who've been there from the beginning happy. You're trying to please everybody, but it doesn't always work. But so far, it seems to be one of their strongest IPs in terms of just success, and they continue to create new sets and stuff like that, and new characters are coming out, which are really cool. So it's been cool. Well, I know that's the one thing is that I don't. I go buy my own Lego. I'm not getting thrown like freebies.
Dang.
I went to the Lego store and I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this. I bought one thing, but I had $70 in Lego points. I was like, yay! So that
I need to see how to earn
helped
some
things a
Lego
little
points
bit.
myself.
And also there's another thing. I might as well sell them out there right now and say that they're starting to celebrate Lego Days in California, and two locations. There's going to be a kind of a Ninjago based Lego Days thing where kids can come and interact, and there's a couple of rides and things like that happening. So that's kind of cool for the adults and kids and all of us.
Like I'm happy like more and more these days, like it's sort of blurring, like where we all get to enjoy a lot of these cartoons and these things are meant for kids, but like we all get to enjoy it now. I did want to
Oh, yeah.
ask, do you think it's easier now to make it as a VA, or do you think back then was easier?
Um, it's I always it's always hard for me to answer this question because I was really in a I feel like when I started it's a completely different reality, a different world. And I think it might have been easier back then. I don't know because it's like when I was doing it, I wasn't like planning to be a voice actor growing up. I was doing acting in high school, but I didn't dream like, yeah, I watched cartoons as a kid and I understood that, Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera and Mel Blanc was this guy, but I didn't go, "Oh, I want to be Mel Blanc when I grow up. I want to be." That wasn't my dream. It was one of those things that I was starting to act professionally as a teenager, which was a lucky place to be, and then I fell into kind of voice work, and they were looking to try and develop voice actors, people who had so they didn't have established voice actors in Vancouver. What they had were theater people who did a lot of theater, some on camera. They had a lot of people who were doing radio, and they had some abilities and skills, and it was kind of like those people were tending to get most of the parts in the shows, and we were kind of learning it was like on work experience, like in the studio experience, learning how to become a voice actor. So it's kind of a rare thing where we're learning how to do the job, having the job. You know what I mean? And I was looking at people who maybe were 2-3 years ahead of me in terms of experience. There were shows that I didn't get into the voice acting scene as at the very, very nascent beginnings, more like people like Matt Hill was there for Captain N, one of the first shows, Captain Nintendo, which was one of the first shows that they recorded in Vancouver. There was a second rendition of He-Man that was recorded in Vancouver that was early on. So there were a few actors who were like 2 or 3 or 4 years ahead of me, and so when I got into the studio, I was watching them. I was like seeing what the heck they were doing, and trying to just like do the best I could with my part and try and learn and see what they were doing, and just building experience that way. So when I look at what's going on now in the world, it's completely, I just saw, which I thought was cool because people always ask me for advice about how to get into voice acting. And I'm like, well, my journey is its own little thing. But I say there's so many people who are passionate about animation. You have to connect with people who are on the animation side and try and connect with them and see if they're doing. I just saw there's a person who's advertising on Instagram for 2 roles in I think it's a student animation project. 2 really cool looking characters, a female lead and a male lead, action type, and saying, I'm, calling out auditions. I want to audition for these 2. And I said, this is the way you've got to kind of get in there and audition for people that are working on these projects. And then building your resume and having nothing like having a nice 2-minute reel of good looking animation with a lead character voice you have if you're trying to pitch yourself to other animators or get your foot in the door in the animation world, But also I look now and there's so many talented people who are just taking it upon themselves to start their own Instagram channels, show off their voices and their abilities, and build a followership and go that route. And I think that that's working for some people. I think it's working for them, that they're gaining some interest and attraction from other animators, or even people could take notice of them that are in the traditional animation industry as well. So, it's new territory. I don't really venture out that world because I'm kind of old school guy who has my agent, and I've been going the traditional route, but I'm sure there's lots of other ways to do it too, to get out there.
I love
Yeah,
that.
we have like modern times, so that always comes with that territory of there's always new ways of getting it. I mean, like you mentioned, Instagram, you find it all the time. Twitter, you find it all the time. And it's a beautiful thing now that we have, people who are more open to not only the Western side, but, you know, even anime. It's grown exponentially. And with that, I wanted to ask, is there a difference when working on Western cartoons to anime?
Well, I haven't really done a lot of anime lately. Like when I started doing anime, most of the stuff I did was like 20 years ago. Like when Ocean Studios was a big kind of dubbing house for a lot of the companies from Japan. They were kind of one of the main ones, and then you had Funimation or in Texas, and then you had New York, which was another hub for like the original Pokemon, and then Toronto too. Toronto had some Sailor Moon and things like that. So we had our, and so I was doing a lot of my animation or, you know, dubbing for anime was back then, and I found that, you know, the big thing is obviously, well, if you just watch anime and you just watch it straight from Japan, you see there's a lot of stuff that's just not going to fly in, well, let's go 20 years ago. Let's not talk about it now because everything kind of just like, but anime 20 years ago, there was a lot of stuff in kid shows in Japan that you kind of, you know, would just not, it's not going to fly in the American market. So there was a lot of cutting and kind of, and that's why a lot of people don't like it, but some people loved it, but, and trying to make it fit into the aesthetic of American, I don't want to say American values, but American style animation and what's suitable for kids. So you lose a lot of plot points, so they got out the door. And then you obviously you have the people who are translating from the original Japanese into English to make it sense, because there's a lot of cultural references that won't make sense, and you know, they have to change that, you know. And it's like all cultures, like even like a lot of the dubs that happen in Latin America with the Mexican dubs, you know, like there'll be references to certain foods and cultural things that you know. I was just watching a funny thing where they were comparing a Spanish dub from Mexico for The Simpsons versus for Castellano in Spain, you know. And there's this one scene where Homer's like upset because he's watching this TV and they're not, you know, like they're not playing he wants them to play. He's like, oh, why there's no more Dragon Ball Zeta? You know, he's upset. That would make sense in Mexico, right? Because everybody loved, you know, Dragon Ball Zeta in Mexico, right?
Top tier, yeah.
But in Spain it was something different. So it's just like, you know. So going back to the anime thing is, yeah, it's the cultural things that they had to change. And also, I guess also that thing about listening to the voice in Japanese, and when they made the casting choices about how to find the right voice for it in English, it's always interesting because sometimes, a lot of the times, you know, you go and you listen to certain roles that are played by women in Japan, lead male voices, and there's a lot of women that play lead young boys here too, but I would say a lot of the times that I would find there's even more women being cast in male roles in Japan than there are even in North America, I find, when I listen to it. But
okay,
I don't know.
That's
Which is
pretty good.
interesting. I always like to see who's doing the roles in Japan and going, oh, well, it's, you know, and it's, cause it'll be like and you find that too is like, even with like the French dubs and things like that, you're looking at all the people who are doing like One Piece and Naruto. They're all like 60-year-old women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really interesting because, you know, you're thinking about this young energy, you know, energetic boy, and it's, oh, come on, I'm gonna do this, and it's like a woman who's 60 and she's got her hair cut and her glasses, and she's like, you know, you go, and that's what I love about it. When you go to the conferences, the cons, and there you're going to meet your like Naruto hero, and she's like, you know, she's
small
60-year-old
older
woman
lady,
in a
right?
shirt, and just like, you know, it's funny. I like it that way.
Yeah.
It's funny that way. It's open. That's what I love about voice acting, is it's just like there's no, like, obviously there's constrictions with what you can do with your vocal abilities, but it's pretty much anybody can play anything for the most part, which I love.
Yeah, I love that. And then also, we also did some research. We saw you did some ADR directing, and yeah, like, is that
No,
correct? No, you
that's a
didn't.
mistake. No.
Okay, my
What
bad.
did it say? Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, no, like I thought
that's
you like yeah.
IMDb being wrong.
Uh-oh.
Wrong.
Yeah, no, I've also been seeing some issues with IMDb, so never mind. Maybe gotta tell them to strike that.
Yeah.
Well, did want to, I guess let's move on to part of the anime's talk, Nana, right? So you did Ren
Yeah.
Honjo, yep, yeah. And I guess what do you think about it being like so popular, like, or even like resurging in popularity again after like 20 plus years?
Well, I mean, it deals. There it is.
Yeah, yeah,
You got
yeah,
it,
yeah.
Tom.
Special
Thanks,
edition too.
Daniel.
Yeah.
You got the good stuff. I don't even have that.
Well,
3 days it took me.
the aesthetic of the show is pretty. It still feels very like. Well, you're going to. There's a slight punk aesthetic. You've got the Colin Sid and Nancy kind of vibe going, obviously, with the Sid Vicious thing with Ren. But the whole, it still feels very kind of current. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like. It still
Outdated or
it
old.
doesn't feel dated
Yeah.
still, you
Yeah.
know, like sometimes you get into the 80s and 70s stuff and of the anime and I like that stuff, but it feels like of its day, you know what I mean? Like you're looking at Fist of the North Star and things like that. It's got that very kind of 80s, 70s feel. Even the animation style, it's just but with Nana, it still feels quite kind of like contemporary and modern. And obviously, just the relationships. I think everybody, especially you see a lot of people when they're younger and they're trying to figure out relationships and what's toxic and what's not and how to stay away from liking the bad boys, but the bad boys aren't always the best thing for you and all that stuff that I think a lot of people when they're younger are dealing with. It really deals with a lot of those topics and just the contrast of the characters. The Nana who is just so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed versus the Nana who's just a little bit more world-weary, and the contrast of characters is really cool. And I went back and watched it all again just because I wanted to refresh my brain. And it holds up, and I can see why people are still into it. I mean, like I say, like a lot of people come up to get things signed. They might have watched it originally, but there's a lot of 14-year-old people who weren't even born when that thing came out, or who are attracted to the characters and to the so-called lessons that perhaps are in there, and the kind of like the fatal what is it, the unrequited love and all that stuff that goes on in it. But I guess those are eternal themes, but
Yeah. Yeah, because I need to watch it. Like I read it recently, and honestly, like it felt very fresh. I definitely want to
yeah,
listen to the music.
yeah,
Want to
It's
see
tight.
like, yeah, I mean, like I definitely understand. I think especially like young adults, like it sort of speaks to like everything you just said. Like, maybe you should date, more Nobus instead of instead of Takumi,
right.
right? But yeah, no, that's amazing, and like I'm excited that like it's coming back again, and hopefully there might be more stuff to come in the future. Let's see how it goes. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same
Well,
with I was gonna say with Death Note, that has held the test of time. That it's more popular than ever right now.
Yeah.
yeah, that thing is it's crazy. I'm very happy for the English dub cast who have been going out there to the cons this year, and they got a whole slate of shows lined up for this year as well. And it's great because at the time, I mean, I had a couple of smaller characters on that show, but it really is. You're going in. When you're doing this, the anime. It's you're like a working actor. Like we're like day actors. Like we go in and we do we're not like stars sitting in our trailers. We're just working actors going in. This is our job. This is the next show. This is what we're doing. And at the time you're doing it, you go, this is kind of cool, but you don't think that it's gonna just have the legs that it did and just keep going. And then I guess the live action movie really helped just bring that thing to life again for a lot of people. I don't know, or bring it to the attention of people.
Yeah. Also, I heard
Yeah,
they're doing another one too.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, so
apparently.
very crazy
yeah.
stuff.
But it's fun. I don't like I say I want my notebook. That's like, I want my notebook.
Gee, that's a scene right there. I did want to ask, like, especially like back in the day, like, were there like not, I guess, gangs, but like, like sort of territory, like since you like mentioned the territories of like the actor scenes, right? Did it feel like there was like competition like that? Like, oh man, the Toronto group is doing this and we want to do this. Like, or did it feel like cohesive, or like were you were interested like in like the world of like the actors as a whole?
Um, I'm much more interested in voice actors now than I was when I was back in the day, just being a guy working, doing it. Like, maybe that's just age, as you get older, you tend to, at least I tend to appreciate more what other people have done in their career and what they're doing. And I have a bigger interest in the profession in general now. Like I say, like I love to watch um, Spanish dubs of Dragon Ball or Los Caballeros del Zodiaco, or different shows that were popular in Mexico. Well, also, that thanks to my wife as well, because we like to watch it. Right now, we're watching a classic show. Thanks to Danny once again, who got us complete DVD. I got the complete DVD collection of the show. It's called Candy Candy, and it's the dub in Espanol, and it was basically, it started in the late '70s, and but my wife has memories of when she was in Mexico. After she finished doing all her chores, she didn't have a TV, so she would run to the neighbor's little casita, and she would sit by the ledge of the TV, like, and watch their TV. And one of her favorite shows was the show Candy Candy, which was this anime show about a girl who basically grew up in an orphanage, and then she basically she moved to a house where, like, the mean stepbrother and stepsister, like a very kind of Cinderella kind of theme, and then she moves to England, and she falls in love with this guy who, like, it's a very, like, you can see why a 7 or 8 year old 9-year-old girl would just fall in love with this show, right? Because just it strikes all the right chords. So we watch that every morning now, and there's like 150 episodes, so
That's a long
just
series.
just enjoying just enjoying like I say, the performances of other performers, even in different languages. I appreciate that more. Going back to your question about competition, for art, like let's say if you break it down into groups like L.A., Toronto, Vancouver, it was like there was never really, you just focus on your own kind of location. You can't do anything about what LA is doing, and they're going, oh God, we're losing this work to Vancouver, and and then Toronto's saying, oh, why? So we never really got into that too much. And even within the group of people who were working, we were never like, if we were competitive, it was always kind of like, not in a weird way. It was always friendly competition. A lot of the people who were the most talented and the most able to, got the most work. Everybody kind of like was able to get enough work that nobody hated each other enough.
Very
Like,
good.
maybe there were some people, I can't believe that guy's always working. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some of that, but for the most part, it was pretty friendly. You know what I mean? And so it was always good ribbing, and like the most fun. I mean, the most fun that we probably had, aside from the sessions, is when we would go to see each other, when we used to go and actually audition for things at the studio. All the actors would show up, and we go in individually and do our audition. They don't, now everything's just MP3 submission, and you kind of like throwing spaghetti at a wall and hoping it sticks. But back in the day, that was the time. Like, go in, see people, goof around. The engineer, guys, keep it down. We're trying to record auditions in here. And we're like,
Yeah.
like just goofing around and things like that. That was like those kind of memories of those days is something that I'll treasure forever. Because it's just not going to happen. Those days are done.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like those memories of those times are something very special.
That's pretty cool. Did you have to audition for Ed and Eddy?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we auditioned. Everybody tells a slightly different story. Matt says that we had like 7 callbacks. I don't remember it that way, but
He says 8.
8? Okay. But because out of all I really remember from auditioning for Ed and Eddy was my initial audition, where I I like to tell it because I got my fax in my fax machine.
Oh,
Got
so
my little my breakdown, a little description of the character and a little picture of him, and then I had to kind of come up with like, what his voice was going to sound like. And then so I did my audition, and then I just remember the only other thing I remember is the final callback between. I think it came down to two groups of three, and they mixed and matched us. And then I remember going distinctly in with two other dudes, and then I remember going in there with Tony and Matt for our final callback, being in the studio. Danny behind the glass, it's dark. There's probably cigarette going somewhere, like very. Who's that guy with the spiky hair and with the cigarette dangling in his mouth?
that's
And
amazing.
then the next thing I remember is oh yeah, you're doing Ed and Eddie, and then the first record and feeling like I don't know what the hell were we doing, like first episode trepidations, like I don't want to get fired,
Oh man, how long
that
did it
kind of
take
thing.
until you felt like you were Double D or you got to embody him?
Well, I it's Double D for me. I think all the characters, if you go back and watch the show, it's like they evolved. Like a lot of shows, you can look and say they evolved. Like I definitely might Double D's character, his vocal quality, it all kind of shifted after season one and into season two. In the beginning, he was much more kind of reserved and
Oh, kind of mumbling. All right, Eddie, be careful. Don't you use kind of more in here, and I don't know. I'm just.
and it had a little bit more of a rasp in him. And then
Yeah.
as they started to
Mhm.
write him a little bit more out there and kind of like being,
How dare you, Eddie? I can't believe that you would.
as he became more that guy, that's when his voice, because he had some great moments of losing his shit, like
Oh yes, oh yes,
that kind of stuff, or
Yeah,
even like the final confrontation between him and Eddie in the Big Picture show, like it was all like he was firing on all cylinders by that point with the indignation and this and that and the didactic personality, so
hmm.
so he did
Ah,
evolve in my
I gotta
opinion.
say, like honestly, Double D like inspired me. Like I was super like shy nerd back in the day, especially like me and my brother. My brother was a cool guy, Like, I would say he was like the Eddie versus me being like the shy Double D. But then seeing Double D like sort of stand up for himself and go for what he wanted more, like I had to say personally, like really inspired me. So I
Oh,
agree with
good.
evolution. I appreciate what you've done.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, obviously I get a lot of people who, and even now, I get messages from parents who talk about their kids are 9, 10, and they're just latched onto Double D like that. Boom, you know what I mean? Like everybody finds their guy, like people love Ed for their reasons. All the players love Eddie because Eddie had his game going on. Like they're like, I wouldn't be hustling like I am if it wasn't for Eddie. You know, I would. I got
Yeah,
my
but
game because of Eddie. Eddie taught me that you got to start young. You got those guys. They love Eddie. I know Eddie may not everybody's favorite, but man, Eddie taught me some stuff.
oh man.
Determination. You don't give up. you know.
Like
Keep
yeah,
scanning.
I mean, great lessons, I guess, from Ed and Eddie, right?
a
Yeah,
bunch of
yeah,
life lessons.
Oh
Oh,
man. Also, I
yeah.
did need to say, like, my parents, like, for a long time wouldn't let me watch Ed and Eddie, but had
Yeah.
to, had
yeah.
to.
I've had a lot of that. I've had a bunch of people saying, "Oh, my mom hated that show."
Yep.
And just hated that show. Another was like, "Oh, I used to watch it with my dad all the time or mom." So it was like, I don't know. But they say, "Oh, now they get it. They're okay." But I can understand too. I mean, I, you know, I can see why some people would just be a bit much for them.
Yes.
You know.
That's
But
amazing.
then I was like, "Well, heck, we didn't like South Park." Like when I saw South Park, I was like, "Okay, I get why parents don't want them to watch South Park."
Yes.
I go, but Ed and Eddie, yeah, sometimes we call people names a bit, but don't. That's like nothing out of like the ordinary. I don't
Yeah,
think.
not that crazy. There were crazier
Yeah,
shows on Cartoon Network then, too.
Yeah.
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
Adult
for
Oh,
Swim.
sure.
yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Completely
Yeah,
different hours.
yeah.
But aside from Ed and Eddie, what was your favorite Cartoon Network show?
Um, wow. It's hard to say. I mean, there's they're also, it's very kind of unique and different. That's one thing I liked about Cartoon Network back in the day, was that there was no way that you could say there was a specific style. If you looked at all the different, like if you look at Johnny Bravo versus Bill and Mandy, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's, they all had a very distinctive style to their, there was no like, oh, this is the Cartoon Network style. There might
Yeah.
have been,
Like a Disney
so that's
style,
what I like.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even the writing was all, different, and then when you get into more the iterations that came a little bit later, like Samurai Jack, it had its own style, So it's hard to say it depends what kind of mood you're in, right? Like Bill and Mandy, if you're feeling a little bit like, feeling like a little twisted that day, or Johnny Bravo, if you're just looking for a good yuck laugh to just watch it. He's kind of like a slightly, well, I won't say that. He's not, no, Ed's way dumber than him, but I'm just saying. I would like to see Ed and Johnny Bravo go on a date, like a double date.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was ever a Cartoon Friday crossover of that, but that would have been cool.
That would have been amazing. Oh my God.
So, come on, man, let's go with the chickies, man. You'd be like, oh, okay, chickies. Well, we did a fun little. Daniel put together a fun little Cartoon Network crossover at one of the cons. It was fun, where we had Johnny Bravo and Courage was in there. I forgot about Courage. Courage is awesome too.
Yeah, that shit went viral.
Oh my God. Yeah. I need to peep that myself, actually.
Yeah. It was fun.
It was
the amazing thing about the conventions is that you guys can get together as VAs and create kind of like these these awesome scenarios that you couldn't get on television.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, is that's why it's been so fun, having Daniel as our little brainchild, as he goes around and hustles and tries to like get people to play with us, which is fun, right? And most people are like, you want to go play with the Eds? I'm like, yeah, I want to go play with the Eds. And so it's like we get to smash like different genres together. It's been fun.
I have a cool story on that. So obviously you guys are fans of the live action One Piece, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so his name for some reason escapes me right now, unfortunately, but it's the one who plays Mihawk.
Oh, yeah.
Sword.
So that's right.
Yeah, so we met him at a Rhode Island Comic-Con, and eventually we'll get something, which I can't talk too much about right now, is to do something between them.
Ooh.
But the one thing when he and I spoke about was he said he was a big fan of Ed, and Eddy in Australia. So growing up, so when he's like, "Wait, they're actually here?" I was like, "Yeah, they're over there. I'm with them." And he's like, "Can I take a picture? Can I take a picture?" It was like it was surreal for me, like. What? Like, this is, I mean, I already know, like, Ed and Eddy has such a cultural impact worldwide, but to see other voice actors or actors, like, it's a cool thing. It's such a great thing.
We hit everybody in the nostalgia feels, which is awesome, right? Everybody, it doesn't matter what you've become, whether you're like a 6'10" NFL football player or whatever, there's still that 10-year-old kid in you that go, oh my God, Ed and Eddy! You know what I mean? Like, you get them in the feels,
Yeah.
So it's kind of like your little, I don't know, access card to go, got the Eds here, you want to hang, like, yes, I want to meet the Eds. It's kind of fun that way. Cause,
that's how I felt too, honestly. Like, I mean, when Daniel was like, hey, you want to meet the Eds? I'm like, like the inner kid that, like, I didn't know would get so excited, definitely, like, beamed. And I mean, I'm beaming right now. It's so cool to be able to talk with you. And, it's something that, like, I never really thought that we would get, honestly, to be able to connect with, the actors and, like, the creatives behind, like, our favorite things, So I'm grateful, and I appreciate you, spending time with us, and humoring us with all these questions too.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fun. It's been kind of eye-opening too, is just because especially with us living here in Canada, you may not know this or you do, is that in Canada, Ed and Eddy didn't hit the way it did around the world because we got 13 episodes of it on a show on a network called Teletoon, and then it disappeared from kids' lives really up in Canada. for us, it's like, yeah, we know it's a show. Like even when it was on, I wasn't watching Cartoon Network back in the day. I was only catching up on that later on. So we were doing all these things that were a part of people's staple of their childhood, like,
Oh, Cartoon Fridays, only on Cartoon Fridays.
all these things that were like ingrained in, that. And I know what that's like because I had my Saturday morning cartoon thing when I was, but, for us to come down to the States and really meet the fans, and now, if you're in your 30s and you love cartoons, then Cartoon Network and
Oh,
Ed, and Eddy are part of your thing. If it's not, then you didn't like cartoons. It just was part of the thing, right? So it's really been great to just see how it's, you know, impacted people in a positive way,
yeah,
and know that we've had some pretty emotional
yeah,
interactions with people this past year. Just people coming up to us saying, "You don't understand." It gets me a little choked up, but how hard my life was, and you guys were like a shining light in my life. Stuff like that. It's just like, wow, it gets me all teared up. So it's pretty
Beautiful.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. Yeah.
That's beautiful, honestly. Like, and I have to agree. It's like if not for cartoons, like even the last episode we talked with Daniel, like we mentioned that like a lot of our heroes, maybe aren't people. People are fallible or whatever, right? But cartoons, that we got to grow up with, anime, like a lot of these characters, got to be like these icons, that we got to like sort of base our lives on, So, it's awesome that like that, you got to be that and like that you get to embody that still, actually. And
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I was wanting to ask, like, what is your personal Mount Rushmore of cartoons? Like, like throughout the whole zeitgeist of cartoons.
Oh, I mean, if I'm just going strictly from my childhood, it was all the stuff that I imbibed in the 80s. So I was watching a lot of stuff like, well, obviously the Hanna-Barbera stuff was just always rotating all the time. The Scooby-Doo, the the Looney Tunes and things like that. It's kind of a staple of my childhood. But then getting a little bit older, I was watching like Saturday morning cartoons was the thing for us. It was a thing, right? And if you didn't live it, then you can't really like. I don't know how to explain it, but
Yeah, I feel
it's
bad
not
for
like
you.
you could just go on demand, get anything you want. You wanted your cartoons. It was Saturday mornings. You had to sit there in front of the TV at a specific time and place and take your cartoons in. But I liked a lot of the fantasy stuff. I loved a show called Dungeons and Dragons, which was a show. Um, Thundar the Barbarian. There was a lot of
Mm.
sorcery stuff. I loved, yeah, and even things like Fat Albert. I don't know if you remember Fat
Yeah, yeah.
Albert. It's
Um,
like that stuff was like that was like things like those are the things that I really enjoyed. And then a little later on when you got the 80s stuff, like early teenager years for me, it was like the Transformers, the first rendition of the Transformers. Um, and I wasn't as much into GI Joe, but Transformers definitely was a big one for me. And but then I also really loved Jim Henson and all the stuff that he
Mm.
created. I was a huge fan of the Muppet Show, and that was kind of that informed me a lot. Even like Sesame Street back in the day, that was a
mm,
huge thing for any kid that was growing up in the '70s. Sesame Street was a huge, like Kermit the Frog and Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch and all those characters. They were, and those are like interesting voices to listen to, right? To inform you as well. So, and as far as animation now, I'm kind of into everything, to be honest, almost. It depends. I could be into the most kind of like shonen type show to more of the girly stuff. I like it all because I'm interested in listening to the voices and what they're doing with them. So
that's
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
cool.
that makes sense, especially since I think the viewers have also been dying when they do see this to know what's in the background, like with all the action figures and all of the
Oh,
cool stuff you have.
Yeah, you got a lot of cool
I
stuff.
Can you run us
I
through
I
it?
have I have well, it's changed a bit now, but this is basically I'm more into collecting loose stuff now. But this is I don't know if I can.
He's a collector.
First of all, I just have my little
Whoa.
shelves. So I have these. These are just the Imaginext dolls that you collect now. These are the little ones. But I have a lot of like the Star Wars,
Oh,
Marvel. They're
that's
just
sick.
fun little figures. This is a vintage Gem and the Rock. I don't know if you remember Gem and the Rock Stars.
Yeah, I do.
Vaguely.
Yeah, Gem.
Yeah.
That's a vintage Gem.
Yeah.
And then I got some Lego stuff.
Hey.
But this is more like this collection here.
Whew.
This is from my original when I was collecting in the early '90s. This is all the Toy Biz X-Men stuff. So, and like I have a lot of these are ones from when I was collecting in the '90s. But then this stuff is just more like just little things I like Street Sharks.
Street Sharks, yeah.
There's some
That's Sandman.
I said King Kong.
King
Oh
Kong,
yeah,
yeah.
I got a King Kong in there. I've got like Brave Star,
Batman.
Batman, yeah.
And then in here I've got like little like Thundercats and then I've got Biker Mice from Mars in here too.
Rob.
It's just whatever I like. And then when I was a kid, this is what I collected when I was 10.
That's
The
Smurfs.
Smurfs.
Smurfs. I
Vintage
collected
Smurf.
Smurfs a
Ah,
lot.
I'm about to say, it's like some of them look
Yeah, some of
pretty
them are
wild.
all
They're
kind of vintagey Smurfs. And then just right now, I just basically collect whatever. My wife's got some cool
Whoa.
over here. She's got her girly stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's a lot of Legos.
Yeah, both of y'all.
Yeah, I got a
collecting
lot of Lego. Got some Sailor Moon stuff over there.
mm-hmm.
Anyways, and this here is like mostly stuff that I was in. So shows like Botmaster, Slugterra, what's it, Stormhawks, and then I like this. This is my Ed and Eddy car collection here, Matchbox.
Oh,
Oh, I love
Oh,
that.
yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Whoa.
Picked that up the other day, or I don't know, a couple months ago. So, anyways, and this is my might as well do a full. I won't go crazy here, but this is my studio here when I work at home.
ooh, crypto.
And this is there's my crypto stuffo stuffy that Daniel got me.
Hey,
Nice.
nice,
San-
And I'm
nice.
also I
San
don't know if
Diego.
I'm also I'm the Car Fox guy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was gonna
All right.
mention that.
Check out the Carfax
Wow.
at carfax.com. But this is my little studio here. It's but this is kind of where I
Double D.
work in here. Yeah, so I just got my little stuff here, my little characters and things. Yeah. Anyway,
That's
That is
amazing.
so cool behind
Yeah.
the scenes.
For real,
Yeah.
no, I
Wow.
feel lucky with that one. That is so cool. Like I'm blown away by that collection. I thought I had some collections, but not. And I thought Daniel had some collections, but oh,
I know, man.
Yeah,
Blows
actually,
mine
yeah.
out of the water.
it's like,
I thought my
nothing.
Astro Boy back there was cool.
you know,
No, it is cool, man.
it is cool, but is it as cool as Sam's room?
No, he could literally roll out of bed and then
Right.
just
And
record
just do some
something.
cool
That
stuff.
is so cool.
Oh yeah.
Right. All I got in this room is this. Like I had to bring it from my room. I'll have to show my room one day.
Yeah,
Daniel's
man.
gonna love it.
no! Yeah, I know, right?
That jump force.
Although, yeah,
Dude, I
Jump Force.
love Jump Force. There you go.
Yep, yep. Even got the jump
Dude.
force on there, but
I
I
like
think it's the
that.
best thing that came out of it. The fact that
Yeah.
it united the heroes together. But yeah, man, that's a cool room though. Wow. Although
For
we
sure.
just want to stay.
I
Where'd
wish
he
mine
go?
was even a fraction of that.
Yeah, for
Especially
real.
the Legos.
That's amazing.
I
And
think,
also, yeah, Daniel, thank you so much. Like, I'm glad that you are doing your part, like in, bringing everyone back. You're the Nick Fury of the cartoon world.
Yeah. I just need the eye patch
Yeah.
We need to make some fan art of Daniel.
now.
We
Right?
need you again. The world needs heroes again. You know, look at
It's like,
you.
listen, motherfucker. You
Yes,
gotta join the conventions.
yes.
It's the last thing you do.
And
Oh
you're
man.
showing them that they are I think like maybe they didn't see like unfortunately in the Canada, local, but like now like they're seeing like that they are, world figures, I mean
Oh
Australia,
yeah.
I didn't even know that they had Ed and Eddie, but that's super cool.
Yeah. I think the craziest part is like wait, Sam, are you still there?
I'm not
I
sure.
think
Sam
I think the
I was
cam
like maybe he's like
possibly
loading back
cut
in.
out. Yeah.
Let me see. I think one of the craziest thing is like what Sam just mentioned, right? Like that he grew up a Hanna-Barbera fan, like so many people.
Yes.
And the craziest thing is like he mentioned he loved Transformers. He was in Transformers as well. He loved Star Wars, but he was also in Star Wars. He
Yeah,
loved
yeah.
he loved Tom and Jerry. He was also Jerry himself. And
Which
then
that's crazy.
and
Yeah.
then also like Bugs Bunny, he was baby Bugs Bunny, Daffy and Tweety. So the whole point is like the stuff that Sam grew up loving, he was actually in those shows as well eventually. So that's pretty
I
cool.
totally forgot about that, bro.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's why I'm there, man.
I was sorry, I forgot to mention that one, but
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also thanks for the
that was
tour.
a
Like
huge
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
that was
That
a
was a treat.
huge moment in my kind of my career when I got Baby Looney Tunes, because that was kind of full circle for me to play those characters. And yeah, it was kind of like everybody has different moments in their life when they go, okay, well, this is like a new milestone. So for me, that was kind of like I finally felt like I was a real. I'm a real voice actor now. Look at me, So it was,
Yeah.
and it was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun to do.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had a question for
Yeah.
the side we were speaking about earlier, with the Spanish voice acting. Would you ever possibly even consider like maybe trying a role in Spanish? Or I feel like your accent is great. I feel like that could be something really cool because I've met some directors out in Mexico. Sofia Huerta, she did like Solo Leveling, and she's like on the Crunchyroll side.
Holy
So yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome just to see
Yeah.
possibly something. I don't know if you ever considered it.
Well,
But
I honestly don't feel like I know how much work it is to get to to get at a level that I would be satisfied with. It would require a lot of work. I'm slowly working every day. I read in Spanish every day just to practice but the thing is it's one thing to speak Spanish, it's one thing to get the accent, and it's another thing to speak at a speed that is like just feels natural and quick and stuff. So I'm still in my admiration absorbing phase, but for me it would be a fun challenge to try and do something in another language. I speak French as well, but not
oh,
like well enough, but not crazy like I could. But I'm starting to watch all the people who dubbed all the movies in anime in French too, because I just like to absorb it, right? So eventualmente tal vez puedo hablar en español, puedo doblar en español, pero en este momento no.
uh,
But I love the yeah. It's kind of a passion for me. So hopefully someday.
That'd be super cool.
ojalá.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's making me want to
Hola.
like get my language learning up right now too. And I'm sort of happy that you like know where you are, but then like where you gotta go. Like that's
Yeah. Oh, and also I would just say, do you ever watch the guys who created the cartoons Huevos?
Yes, I've seen some
Yeah.
of the
Okay.
movies in theaters.
Yeah, those guys are good. Like they come up, like I've been watching a lot of their stuff because there's so many nuances in the voices that they do with different characters and different things. It's really fun to watch those guys. They've franchised this whole thing, and it's all eggs. All the characters are eggs, but they started off doing like little shorts where they did like a superhero team Huevos, or they had a talk show, and then they made movies, like, and they made like three or four movies now. And
It's a
they've done.
bunch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives me the vibe of a really popular show that we had. It was Chavo del Ocho.
Chavo del
In that
Ocho.
kind of veins.
Yeah.
A lot of funny references. You know, the comedy is
Yeah.
up there, but that's awesome that you know about that as well.
Yeah, because the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more you bump into things, and so I'll watch that with my wife, and we get a good laugh out of it, and and it's just it's part of just that journey of learning. I even, like I said, I got to meet Mario Castañeda in
Oh yeah.
Florida.
That's
Yeah,
Goku.
Goku.
Oh,
So that was cool because I'd been watching a lot of Dragon Ball and entrevistas con Mario and all that.
Mhm.
So it was like, "Hey Mario," he's like, "Who the hell are you? Do a quick scene with me." So we
Yeah,
did a
we
little.
actually did a video with him.
We did a
You
little
have a
cameo.
video?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did a little
it's
video.
on our
yeah, for
Instagram.
real.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll probably meet some more of the Mexican actors too, because they're going to be at cons. Like the guy who plays, sorry, I don't remember his name, but he plays Bob Esponja, and he was in Houston. Like any of the estados, like in the South, like Florida or Houston, you're going to have more. There's more Spanish speakers who are there wanting to meet those voice actors, so it's kind of cool.
Sam, remember we met the Spanish voice for Cartman?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She's I can't remember her name right now, but she's based out of Florida,
Yeah.
and she's the voice of Cartman on South Park.
And Donald Trump.
And Donald Trump, which is, that was hilarious. That was hilarious.
That is funny. Like I it's super cool. Also, like the international scene is like growing like that, and I mean now, like, Louis like had mentioned like we're trying to bring on some other voice actors and actresses like from around the world. I'm excited for you to meet more of these folks too, and maybe something can happen. I mean, especially like some of these clips that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
What,
Sam, I don't know if I remember right, but didn't you didn't you audition for One Piece at one point?
This is the lore. Apparently, there is a recording when One Piece back
Yes.
in the day was trying to find dubbing house to do the English version of it. I did an experiment.
Zorro.
I did Zorro.
Oh,
And so there's actually samples of this up on the YouTube, but I couldn't find a sample of me. Well, maybe there was, but anyway. But there was the one that was doing Luffy. It was Andrew Francis, I think,
Yeah.
doing Luffy. So anyway, it was one of those things. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, could have been maybe if they'd gone that way, but just that little show called One Piece.
just a small show.
alternate
Different
timeline
dimensions,
right there.
Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
In another reality, another timeline, we're doing One Piece.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But,
Thank you so much. Honestly, it's a joy to talk with you, and I really appreciate these stories. And I'm really happy that you're like coming to the scene again, because what you did was so crucial for so many of us, and what you're doing right now is really crucial for like many kids right now. So thank you so much for sharing these stories with us.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. It's been fun hanging out. Maybe we'll do this again.
Where can people find you?
Basically just on Instagram. At Samuel Vincent Coot. Khouth. Coot is my last name. Vincent is my middle name, but I use it as my stage name, Samuel Vincent or Sam Vincent. So Sam Vincent Coot. I am there. That's where you can find all the magic between Daniel and myself and Matt Hill and all the fun things we've been doing at the cons, and look forward to more in 2026. I think we're going to have a good time.
Yes, sir.
Get up to some more hijinks, as they say. As the kids say, hijinks.
Yes, sir.
Be
Very
fun.
excited. And
Appreciate
then,
it.
I
Yeah.
also hope to see you at some more cons this year too. Like I'm aiming to be at San Diego Comic Con, aiming to be at New York Comic Con. Definitely excited to see you guys around.
I'm
hopefully
sure
make-
that we will run into one another at some point this year. That'd be fun.
Yes, sir.
I'll drag him to the booth.
Yeah.
Please, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And to everybody listening, thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know what you like. Let us know who your favorite in Ed and Eddy was, or your favorite cartoons. We'd love to hear
All of them.
your favorite Sam Vincent roles. And yeah, also make sure you give us 5 stars, rate this, share this with your friends.
Stars.
Yes.
Five.
Tell everyone that this is the episode to listen to.
Cinco estrellas. Cinco estrellas.
Cinco,
Porfa.
cinco.
Dale like. Dale like.
Well, I'm getting
Suscríbete.
it too. Thank you so much for your time, and then everyone stay dope, yo. Peace.